Welcome to First Talk Podcast. Salud, amigo.
Salud.
Thank you for joining me, man. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. So First Talk Podcast, we wanted to, first of all, this podcast is very casual, so feel free to just be open and casual, obviously. Let me just start with the drink. So I wanted to bring you on here because, well, you're a friend, obviously, but also you're a lawyer here in Orlando. We've known each other for a while. We go way back.
Way back.
Way back.
Way back in the day.
to UCF days. So I wanted to talk to you about a few things. I kind of sort of texted you some topics that I kind of wanted to touch on with you because I thought that you would be able to provide me with some cool insights.
We'll see about that.
I think we should just start from right there from school.
Okay.
So what happened after UCF? What made you go into law, and how has that been?
So I don't remember if you remember this, but while I was at UCF, I was hit by a drunk driver. Right.
I do remember this.
I spent like 3 months in and out of the hospital.
Right.
And after that incident, I changed my major to like legal studies.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah. So I was doing a whole bunch of majors before that. Mm-hmm. Right. I was like mathematics, chemistry, psychology, political science, like getting less and less sciencey as time went on. But then after my car accident, I was like, I guess I'm going to go to law school now because it just seemed like the right thing to do. I don't know, the thing that I wanted to do myself because I've always liked the law and I've always done stuff like tangentially related to the law. Like, and back then, you might remember me doing a lot of stuff with like NORML, the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Law, and like before my car accident, I was working on some political campaigns, working for a congressman, doing a lot of like political organizing. We even locally were trying to get cannabis decriminalized here. I don't remember if we were hanging out back then, but we doing a lot of political organizing stuff, and it just seemed like the next logical step would be to just go to law school, instead of like electing people to like change laws, just be part of that system.
Right.
Join the matrix, kind of thing.
I gotta change it from the inside.
Yeah, do my best.
Was there anything about the accident in particular that changed, it had a mindset change in you that you were like, you know what?
Well,
I think this is something that I can see myself doing.
That kind of came later, like after getting out of the hospital and then dealing with like my attorney. Like, he wasn't a bad attorney, but at the same time, he didn't really do a whole lot for me, like, and also he let all of my medical bills from my hospital stays go to collections, which kind of like screwed me in the long run.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. His theory was, you let that happen so you can get more money from the insurance company. And, like, it's one way to do things. But, like, long term, having big hospital bills go to collections, like, that's annoying for your credit history.
Yes, of course.
So, I went back to UCF, and like the legal studies courses were like super easy too. Like it's a very good program. The UCF legal studies program is like one of the top 2 in the nation, but there's only like 30 in the nation. Okay. Like, it's not a very common thing. It's really like a paralegal type degree. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I wanted to have like the highest GPA I could to try to get into law school, which, prior to my accident, classes weren't my favorite thing to go to. Homework wasn't the most fun. But afterwards, it was pretty much straight A's. And
wow.
Yeah, I got into UF. Only applied to one law school. Got into UF, so went to UF for law school, and there, that's when things like I was like, oh, this is where I need to be, because I like that type of stuff. That's how my brain works. Um,
The challenge
yeah, the
was
challenge.
good for you.
A lot of reading, a lot of like using your brain to like think of hypothetical situations, and like they tell you that if you go to law school, your neurons in your brains rewire your first year. And like your brain you have before law school is not your same brain after your first year. And like they used to tell us this at UCF all the time. Like, oh, if you're thinking about going to law school, it's going to change your life. It's going to change your life. It's going to change how you think. It's going to change how you look at things. It's going to change your relationships. One professor used to tell us, if you go to law school, there's a 50% chance you're going to end your relationship. Like if you're with somebody, whether you just started dating or whether you've been married for years, there's a 50% chance that relationship is going to end your first year.
Because of how committed you have to be.
And how it changes who you are as a person.
Oh,
like it really does. Like,
my goodness.
I was dating somebody, right?
Yeah.
And this girl and I, we were really serious about each other. We liked each other a lot. But being long distance in that first year of law school, it was very tough.
Transformative.
Yes, especially during finals time, right? And now at UCF, when I was in class, I was always one of the top 3 smartest people every single time. And my professors would like give me awards in class and like, make a big deal out of things. But when I got to UF, it was like, you're probably in the bottom half of like intelligent people here, like you are no longer top dog. Okay.
Right.
And like, that was something to deal with. But then,
your ego is now also part of that transformation.
Oh yeah. Big time ego hit.
Yeah.
But, the final exam period is what really changed everything for me. 'Cause I would not sleep for days leading up to a final. Like the 3 days before my final exams, like especially the first year, like I barely slept at all. I was going over tons and tons of notes, like hundreds of pages of notes, thousands of pages of reading material, all to try to like take a type of test I'd never taken before, right? And in law school, your only grade is your final exam grade. You don't get any other grade throughout the semester. Everything is based on how you do on that one test.
Gotcha.
So, and you're all graded against each other too. So like I might do great, but you might do really great. And because you did really great, you get the A and I get the C.
Got it. And what do those tests look like? Are they kind of you writing out like a defense for like a thing, or what, how does it actually work?
So a typical law school exam is a fact pattern and a question, and you write an essay.
Okay.
Right? Like if you got a criminal law exam question, they'll be like, Billy is a 17-year-old and he goes into Joe Schmo's convenience store and he decides that he's going to take, these items valuing $50, right? But on his way out, the clerk tries to stop him and Billy pushes past the clerk and knocks the clerk down, who hits his head. Billy's later arrested. What can he be charged with? And also, when they arrest Billy, the police ask him these questions, but they don't read a Miranda yet. Can they use those statements against him? And you have to like analyze every issue in the fact pattern.
Wow.
You have to talk about like all the possible crimes he could be convicted of, all his possible defenses, all the procedural things that the police had done. And there's a formula you use for answering your questions. They call it IRAC. Okay. You talk about the issue, you talk about the rule of the law, you talk about your analysis of everything, and then you give a conclusion. IRAC. Okay.
IRAC.
That's the most important thing for law school. IRAC.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's almost like the what is it in science? They have the Socratic method.
So
that's like the Socratic
your scientific
method approach to
like that's typically what they want, And the big thing that they care about is, can you give us an analysis? Can you apply the law to the facts? Like that's what they don't care if you know the law so much. They want to see how you apply it. And, and that's kind of like the rewiring of the brain that takes place.
Right, because just because you think that the law applies, how you actually present it matters probably just as much, right?
Even more
so.
Yeah, because, there's so much gray area with the law. Like, two people look at the same thing and could come up with different conclusions.
Right.
But it's like a math homework problem where the teacher cares much more about you showing your work than the actual answer you get.
Right.
And unlike math, there's not a right answer at the end of the day,
So even two right answers, one can be slightly better than the other.
Oh yeah.
Wow. So how does the law then in a case, how does a jury or a judge then determine this guy's just slightly more right than this guy? Well, they're both right, but this one's a little bit slightly more right. Is it how you present it then at that point?
Always. That's always everything in the law. And that's something that if you become an attorney that litigates, that's someone that tries cases, that's someone that goes to a courtroom and argues. Like not all attorneys go to a courtroom, right? A lot of them just do stuff with documents. A lot of them sell real estate, It's a small portion of attorneys that actually go to a courtroom, right? Those are called litigators, right? And in litigation, especially in trials, it's all about the show you put on for the jury.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
I was a public defender for a while, and like something that it took me a while to realize there is that like the jury doesn't get to see all the stuff that you've seen throughout the time. They don't get to see all the stuff the prosecutors see. They don't get to see how the judge is on a day-to-day basis. They don't see the interactions daily, and like there might be all these things going on outside of stuff, but the jury only gets a very narrow view of what happens, like what you put on in front of them, the show you give them, really. And like you can put on a show for a jury. Like it is very easy to do. Like a lot of attorneys even have like a jury voice where like I have a jury voice. Like try to slow down what I'm saying and maybe add a little more Southern twang to what I've got.
Maybe pause more.
Some more dramatic pauses, okay? Yeah. I get carried away with my emotions sometimes, and, but it's okay to give a little bit of passion. They want to see that. It's a lot like putting on a theater production, and like your best attorneys, they do put on a show, a play, like you have your opening statement, which, you draw the jury in and you tell them what you're going to tell them throughout the trial. Then, you have your witnesses get up there and give their testimony. And, depending on what side you're on, you're either, trying to get them to tell the jury like a very good story that corroborates your case, or you're trying to pick them apart and, prove that what they're saying doesn't add up to what they want, right? And like, when you're cross-examining a witness, like, it doesn't matter what they say, right? It matters what you say. Like a lot of times you're not even looking at the witness. When you're talking to them, you're looking at the jury. You're saying, isn't it true that, you've got to ask them a question where like, you already know the answer they're going to give, right? Like, I had a police officer once like tell somebody what to write in a statement. I said, isn't it true that you told them what to write? Isn't it true you told them to say, my husband hit me and took my phone? Isn't it true they didn't want to write that? It doesn't matter what he's going to say because I already know what he's going to say. I'm not even looking at the police officer at this point. I'm looking at the jury because I want them to know that like this is a big deal, that this.
Wow.
And
so it's almost like a Shakespearean play.
Oh yeah. You want to have it choreographed. You want to have your script. Okay, you got your actors in place, and then at the end, you got to give them a nice, juicy conclusion to go home to. To go back to that jury box too and think about, and
make it easy for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Like my favorite one I ever had, that same case with that cop telling the person what to write. The person who called the police was a 911 operator, right?
Okay.
They called the police because they saw what they thought was a fight going on outside. It was a husband and a wife arguing, But, she thought that they were fighting. She thought the husband was beating the wife, right? She's a 911 operator, so she's used to hearing calls like this all the time, right? When the police come, they were already in the mood of, oh, this is a fight. This is this guy needs to go to jail because he's beating his wife.
You're coming in hot, yeah.
Yeah, they came in real hot, and the wife later was like, oh, he wasn't hitting me. I was really drunk. And I ran out into the street and I fell down and he was trying to pick me up and get me to come back inside. She didn't want to come back inside.
Very different than an actual fight.
Than a guy beating his wife. And so when I'm in front of the jury, I was like, to a hammer, everything in the world looks like a nail. Okay? Just like here, we have people that are in the police system, everything they see is a crime. And so, and I just kept saying, to the hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. You might have a screw, you might have a thumbtack, you might not need a hammer for this situation, but a hammer only knows how to be a hammer. Hammer only knows what it sees in front of it's a nail. And so you have a 911 operator seeing two people and something going on, they're going to think there's a crime. You have a police officer show up who's been told, oh, there's a crime. He's going to see another crime, right? But it might not actually be a crime, It might be a screw instead of a nail. It might need a screwdriver,
Yeah.
And anyways, that was like my favorite trial. Like 15 minutes took the jury to come back, say not guilty. Okay,
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's not all something as pretty as that. Like sometimes, like you have a case that you just cannot win. Had a guy accused of being a peeping Tom, and his whole defense was, I didn't see nothing,
Oh my God.
And like,
I didn't see
doesn't matter. And he wanted to go to trial,
That's amazing.
and it's like, did you look under the stall at her? Oh yeah, but I was just trying to see if someone was in there.
I didn't see nothing. I looked, but I didn't see anything. That's hilarious. So that actually was perfect. You telling me about like some cases that you've been on and stuff. Is it hard to practice law? Would you consider law to be difficult because you have to not only know the law but then also put on this whole choreography and you don't know actually if you're going to even do well, you don't know.
They say it's one of the most stressful professions. And I agree, it's very stressful. A lot of times it's very difficult, especially if you're a person that represents clients. It's very difficult to separate what happens to them from what happens to you. You got to put up that barrier,
Interesting.
Especially representing like criminal defendants or people in personal injury cases. Like these matters are very personal to them,
Of course.
and it's kind of hard for a lot of people to separate themselves from that personal. Another difficult aspect is the like zero-sum nature of it. Like if I win, the other side's got to lose.
Oh,
yeah,
that's true.
Like,
I never really thought about it in that way. You just think that the other person just did slightly worse off. No, they lost, and there's repercussions for losing.
Yeah, like imagine you're in a car crash case, right? And if you're the attorney representing someone that's been hit by a car, if you don't win, they don't get anything, and you don't get paid. You might have years of work invested into this case. You might have tens of thousands of dollars invested into it.
Wow.
But if you don't win, you don't get anything.
So it's anxiety driven from the start.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then, like you said, add on top of that the emotional aspect to it all, where this person's maybe in a wheelchair now and stuff. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But they start you with that from the very beginning, with your final exams, your whole fate for a class being based off of how you perform over 3 hours.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Your whole, and then after law school, your bar exam, like everything culminates to this one moment where you have to take a test over 3 days or
Oh,
2
it's
days.
over 3 days.
Depends on what jurisdiction you're in. I
takes
think
several
here in
days.
Florida it's 2 days.
Okay.
I've taken the California and the Florida bar. California is 3 days, right? You know, and Florida's 2 days. Is it 2 or is it 3? I can't remember, but you know, it's this test that, and that is just pass or fail. Like you either hit the mark and you can be an attorney, or you missed it and you got to try again in 6 months. And like, you know, again, that zero sum thing, like win or lose, and that's very stressful for people.
Right.
And but it's you know, it can be rewarding if you like that type of stuff, you know, like the idea of, you know, being a public defender and helping people, you know, that can't afford an attorney, and like, you know, giving them a good defense and maybe even getting them found not guilty. Like that's really rewarding. Or being a prosecutor and, you know, protecting victims and, you know, protecting the community. Like a lot of people really love that. You know, they get off on that. Okay,
I was about to say, these wins are probably really big wins. Like,
Yeah.
they feel it in their soul. It's like an adrenaline rush.
I've always known prosecutors to be the most personally involved in cases, and like the most personally offended by stuff that happens. You know, like you might be a defense attorney just defending your client, you know, just asserting their rights, but like prosecutors can just get so incredibly offended. Like say you have a guy that's very drunk, like obviously drunk, and gets arrested for drunk driving, and like, you know, has a horrible history of it, but like maybe the cops didn't follow the procedure when pulling him over, and maybe they didn't have a good reason at the start of it to pull him over, and later it got found out that he was drunk, like, you know, maybe blows double or even triple on the breathalyzer. But if they started the stop wrong, like if they just pulled him over because they felt like it, you know, pulled him over because he's on the wrong side of town, pulled him over because they've seen him before, you know, and you know, you can have the whole case thrown out just because it started out bad, right? And a prosecutor, a lot of times they get really personally offended that you would try that, you know, because to them, a lot of times things are black and white. You know, he's either guilty or not guilty. But
it's kind of like you said, right? A prosecutor could be a hammer, and
yeah, exactly.
everything can look like a nail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It almost always does to them too.
Right,
okay?
right. They're gonna keep going until they find what they're looking for.
Especially those domestic violence prosecutors. Okay, like they take their jobs very seriously.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have to, but
right. But
you
you're
know.
right. Identifying what is an actual nail and what could be a little bit more of a nuanced situation is sometimes basically difficult, because, like you're saying, even their pay depends on it, probably.
Yeah. You won't stay. You will not move up if you're constantly losing cases. Like, you know.
See, that's something I don't understand about law. Is like the more wins, the more you get paid, the more status you get, the more, you know, it's like,
I wouldn't go that far. No,
it's not like that?
Your best attorneys are not your richest attorneys, okay?
Gotcha.
You know,
but
your attorneys you see on the big law firms, you know, I'm not going to name any names, but those guys are not typically the smartest in their class, okay? Like, I mean,
but yet they're winning, though.
Let's just talk about John Morgan, okay? Like, he was known to have not great grades at UF. That's where I went to law school, right? And like everybody knows John Morgan if you went to UF, okay? Of course, I mean, everybody knows John Morgan, period. Like Morgan and Morgan for the people, like, but like he was not the A student, okay? Like he was not the straight A student, and he'll tell you that himself, you know. And the joke is, in law school, the people that make straight A's become professors, the people that make B's become judges, and the people that make C's make all the money.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's the story.
And where do you more or less land on that scale?
I mean, I was making a lot of A's and B's. Okay, like I'm more of the professor type. Okay. You know, I made 1 C, okay? And that was only in an immigration class, and the class started before Donald Trump got elected and ended after he got elected. And I remember thinking, like, everything we just learned is now nonsense.
Yeah,
like,
out the door.
90% of the test was on something called chain migration, which is where, like, if you immigrate, then like you can bring in your brother, your mother, whomever, right? And like Trump's regime pretty much got rid of that.
Yeah,
you know,
put that out,
pretty much. And it was just like very funny to me, like spending months and months and months learning this complex area of the law, and then like, oh, someone's going to come in and just completely burn that book, which, you know.
So that happens often, that laws get just thrown out like that, and you start over with something different?
It can.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it typically doesn't. Like, people like Donald Trump don't come along very often, you know.
Gotcha. They use the laws that are already on the books mostly, instead of just throwing it all out and starting different, starting new.
Certain types of law, there's some things that like federally your president can just like do whatever he wants with. Like immigration policy, there's a lot of like leeway for the administration, like the executive branch, to do whatever they want, right?
Wow.
Okay.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Like some things are pretty much black and white, like set in stone, and like the legislature's passed some type of law, and there's not really a whole bunch the executive can do other than just enforce the law, right? You know, like here in Florida, like typically most laws you think of, like criminally speaking, like, you know, not a lot of things can happen there, you know, like your law on murder, that's not really going to change over time.
Right.
You know, your laws on like sex crimes and things, those aren't really going to change. Now, recently we've had some like changes in like how punishment will be doled out.
Right.
And like in Florida, for example, they're trying to make it the death penalty if you commit a sex crime against a child, you know.
I heard about that.
Yeah. And, you know, that has a lot to do with the governor and the legislature. But, you know, you're not going to ever see like those laws substantively change, you know, like stealing something's always going to be a crime, you know.
Right.
But like at what level of theft does it become a misdemeanor or a felony, right? And
you're probably seeing some of the consequences of changing some of those punishments, like in California, for example, where you see these raids of people just robbing stores and Apple stores, and then nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah.
And then they run away, and then it's like, you know, that seems kind of like a punishment issue, right? Because people wouldn't do that if the punishment was severe enough.
Right. Yeah. That's one theory about, you know, crime. You know, it's like, is punishment a deterrence or not? You know.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with the whole like death penalty for, you know, abuse against minors. Like, is that something that's going to stop people from doing that?
Yeah. I guess that gets really philosophical, right?
Yeah, that is a philosophical, because me personally, I don't think that people are thinking about the future when they're committing a crime. And I especially don't think they're thinking about what if I get caught and what's going to happen to me. Like, that's so many steps down the road. I think that what they're thinking of mostly is like, what is this in front of me?
Right.
Now, I do think that if it's not a crime, like if it's not punishable versus if it is punishable, like I think that's an issue. You know, like if stealing something under $50 wasn't something that you could get more than a fine for, you know, I think we'd see a lot of people doing that. You know, because like, it's, you know, it's something that I'm not even going to go to jail for. But, you know, because there is that punishment, the threat of jail, you know, people probably don't do it. But I don't think that like changing something between like 5 years versus 10 years is going to like stop somebody.
Right. Because people, like you said, are not even thinking about that.
Oh, if I get arrested, I might have to do 10 years instead of 5. If I would have done this 3 months ago.
They don't have a chart. You know, like if I rub a car, I get 5, but they change it to 10. So 10 is a lot. I don't know. Maybe I just want to do this other crime.
Maybe some of your more like complex criminals, like some organized crime, might be thinking about like, okay,
what can we get away with for the least amount of...
We now have to package, you know, 20 grams of cocaine instead of 21, you know, because like 21 is going to get us this many years and 20 is only going to get us this, you know. Maybe, but like, I don't even think they're doing those types of calculations. Like,
right. They're just trying to make money.
Yeah. To me, the best way to avoid crime is to like fix the problems that cause crime. You know, that's That's
And
my
that's-
opinion.
And that's a big philosophical debate too.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a combination of both punishment and deterrence, right? So it's a little bit of both.
And alternatives.
And alternatives.
You know, you need to have like
Maybe
an
you don't need to
alternative to
just throw
crime.
people in jail. Maybe there's
Yeah.
therapy or this or that or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, counseling.
Diversion program.
Diversion programs, right.
Yeah. You know, those tend to be very successful.
Oh,
Like
yeah?
if someone's charged with a crime for the first time, if you go throw them in prison, you're going to be committing more crimes down the road.
Right. Isn't it like I heard this crazy thing on another podcast where like the recidivism of people that go to jail when they get out, it's like it's really high because they learn how to be a better criminal in jail.
Yes.
They're surrounded by criminals, so criminals like to talk and brag.
Yes.
And so you become a better criminal.
You go in for theft,
Crazy.
you come out being a good burglar. Okay,
Right,
you know.
right.
But it's also because once you go into prison, when you come out, your options are like so much more limited than before. If you were in school before you went in, you're out of school, you're failed out, you might not even be able to go back, you know, if you got a felony on your record.
Right.
You can't get a lot of jobs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do a lot of things. So your options have now limited themselves to like more crime, you know.
They even ask you in like real estate rentals, have you, do you have a felony? Have you committed a crime? Things like that. It's like, oh boy, like
a lot of job applications have that on
a
there.
lot of job applications too. So
And most people, if you're given a choice between hiring a felon and a non-felon,
they would pick probably the non-felon.
yeah.
Yeah, even if the felon might actually even have a better resume, right? Probably.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
insane. I mean, yeah, there's big problems, I think, in the whole penal system, and and a lot of it is philosophical. It seems like because punishment obviously doesn't seem to be a big deterrence for a lot of crime. People just keep committing crimes, you know.
Yeah. Well, the question is, why do we punish people?
Why? Why do you think?
Well, I mean, you know, I can tell you what I think, why we do it. I think we do it because, like, for pure retribution. Like, I think that, like, we want to put people in prison because it makes us feel good. You know, like, we have now separated this person from society and we are punishing them, you know, like, just because, like, we're not trying to rehabilitate. Okay.
And we're probably saving face for the community at large, maybe even a little bit, right?
Yeah, there's a small argument that you're removing them from, you know, the community. You know, you're separating them.
Right.
Right. But like, you can only separate them for so long, they're going to be right back. You know.
Yeah.
And like, we're not sending people to prison to make them better humans.
That's a very good point.
We're not putting people on probation to make sure they're better. You know, we're not encouraging people to do things that like better themselves personally. Now, a lot of people do privately and personally choose to better themselves when they go to prison, jail, probation. Like, you know, they might decide like, oh, I'm going to become religious, or I'm going to, you know, go back to school. I'm going to get a degree. I'm going to do something to make my life better. But that's not something we as a society like make them do or even encourage them to do. You know, like there's no encouragement to like better yourself. Like most of the time you're just thrown in the box and forgotten about.
So what can be done to better that situation in jails? Because I'm assuming that there's even some jails that are better than others.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you know, you could see rates of recidivism in some jails a lot higher than in other jails, and they're still both jails. So like, what?
I'm very familiar with Florida's prison system.
Okay.
My father spent like almost 2 decades in and out of prisons here in Florida.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh. And my mother, she currently works as a mental health counselor in a women's prison. They did not meet in prison. Okay. My mom and dad, like, you know.
I wasn't gonna ask.
My mom only, you know, she started this maybe less than a decade ago. And my dad, you know, he's been in and out of stuff since like I was a small child, right? And like he would tell us about like there are prisons where it's easy time and prisons where it's hard time, right? You know, there's places where in prison you can get anything you want. You can get an iPad, you can get KFC, You can even get sex from the guards. Okay, like
Meaning that the wait, hold up.
so you're in prison. Okay, you're a prisoner, and like you have the money for it.
Yeah.
You can get whatever you want. You want
Interesting.
cocaine? Pay the guy to get the cocaine.
Got it.
You want? My dad said every night him and his roommate would either smoke because they weren't really. They were all in like a big open air thing with like individual like little open air rooms, with like two beds.
Okay.
Like in like a big like dormitory type setting, right?
Gotcha.
Like probably 100 men in this place and like 50 little tiny rooms and like one bed. He said every night him and his roommate would smoke weed or spice, K2 spice. My dad smoked a lot of K. It kind of messed him up, the K2 spice. He said every night they'd smoke. They'd smoke every night, and they never worried about the guards messing with them or stuff.
So that's an easy jail.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then there's places where like you cannot be doing that. Well, I mean, honestly, in every jail you can get drugs. Wherever you want.
In every jail, you could probably get away with a lot of little different things depending on who you are and how much money you got and who you can bribe.
Yeah, and the big thing is like how much free time do you get? How much time are you out in the yard? How much time are you, free to do your own stuff? Versus how much time are you confined? And then another big thing is like how violent is the place? Like, are you in a place that like there's a lot of other people and a lot of other gangs and like you you're in danger like 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah. And for certain crimes, like no matter where you go, you're going to be in danger. And people know what you've done when you got into prison.
How do they know?
They find out. Either someone's able to look up like their records or a guard says something, but they find out. And like a lot of the gangs take a lot of stuff personally, like take it personally. Like my dad used to tell me a story about some man that kidnapped an old lady here in Orlando. Like she came up to him on the street while driving around lost, and she said, "How do I get to such and such a place?" The guy gave her directions to a house that he went to. She pulled up there. They pulled her out of the car and just did horrifying things to her and killed her.
No.
Old lady. And then he was bragging about it in prison after he got into prison.
God, what the hell?
Yeah. And the story was from my dad is that like a gang jumped this guy and like beat him within an inch of his life and like broke his jaw, like smashed his teeth out and stuff. And then they found out where he was going to be transferred to. So they called up their other gang members in that other prison where he was going to be transferred to. And like the story is he didn't make it 3 days after that, after being transferred.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Like, and if you've been convicted of like a crime against a child or like a sex crime against a child,
People
like,
find out.
oh yeah. Like people will mess with you, people will mess with your food, people will do all sorts of horrible things to you, and you just really have to like keep to yourself and like stay alive, and most people don't make it through. Like that.
So how did your dad make it out?
Well, my dad, the first time he went into prison, he was in his 20s, and like he was like a taekwondo, like a brown belt in taekwondo, right? Like he could fight, okay? Like he could fight
badass.
a lot, okay?
I do jujitsu, so I know like, how hard it is to get into the higher belts.
Yeah, he was very he was a very fit, good fighter, and he's
an athlete,
and is a little touched in the head too, okay? Like he's a little crazy, like
so he liked to fight.
Yeah, he did like to fight, and I mean, he wasn't one to be like, oh, first day you go find that biggest guy there and you beat him up. No, he didn't say that. He's just like, what he would tell us is like, if someone messes with you, you don't let them mess with you, and you stop them that first time, and you show everybody else that like I'm not to be messed with.
Yeah.
Like even if it means like you losing your privileges or getting in trouble with the guards or even getting the tar kicked out of you, like you
gotta
show
earn
them.
respect.
Yeah, you show them because like even if you get beat up pretty bad, like you probably put a hurt on the other person too, and it shows that, oh, you can't just come up and take his pudding cup. I don't know,
his cornbread or whatever.
the last time he was in prison, because he's out for about 10 years on probation, and then he got picked up again for violation of probation, and he spent another like 10 years in prison, maybe
Wow.
8. And that time he was much older, and he basically was like, I joined a gang just to protect myself,
Oh my God,
like
it's that serious?
yeah. And my dad,
You got to pick sides, kind of a
yeah,
thing.
yeah. He's always been a paralegal too. Like he would always help people with appeals, and his strategy was get an appeal for somebody in every major gang, get an appeal for them going.
Wow.
And so it'd be like, don't mess with John, he's working on, Rico's appeal. Don't mess with John, he's working on Sean's appeal. Don't mess with John, like he's got this thing going for so and so. Like, so that was how he, added value to stuff. And like you got to bring something to the table too. You can't just, you know, just sit there and just hope that no one messes with you.
So your dad knew the culture of jail.
Yeah.
He understood how people interacted.
Yeah, especially the last time.
And he was trying to kind of play it safe by helping everybody.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He joined his gang though, and
maybe he had no choice.
Never really asked what gang you joined, but looking at myself and knowing my dad, it's like, well, he definitely didn't. He didn't join the Latin Kings, okay? Like,
Where's your dad from?
He's from Ocala, just like
He's
me.
from Ocala? Okay.
But all of our family's from Kentucky, so like he's the first one born here in Florida.
Gotcha.
So
so yeah, no Latin Kings.
No, not a blood, okay? No, but
so he gets out.
yeah. So when he gets out, he had a few more years of probation to be on, and like he was on like tip top best behavior, and that ended about half a decade ago, and now he's free.
Nice. Nice.
But
so did he say that experience changed him as a person? I mean, is he better now or?
So when he was out of jail the first time, like he was like, I never want to go back, it's changed me, like no more dealing drugs, no more running around with the wrong people. Of course, like that had long been gone from him, know. But on his last day, he told me that like it broke him. And he says to me that like everybody has a breaking point in prison. Like some people break after just a month of being in there and they're broken and they're never the same. And some people take some decades and decades and they don't break. And he was like, it took me about 16, 17 years till I broke. And like, he's really not the same guy he was, like that I remember in high school. Like, he's not really like that anymore. And like, at first it's like, oh, it was the K2 spice, put some holes in his brain. But like, it's just like, he's a lot more, what word do I want to use? Like, like, can't really see beyond his own self, now, like very, very concerned about his self, I'm not saying selfish, but like, it's very hard for him to get to see beyond his own issues now, because like every day was a survival, and especially he said this last time he was in prison, he was old, and he could not fight, if someone wanted to fight him, he could not fight back, so I just feel like, excuse me, that day to day of being worried about your life, like that ran a toll on him, and not the same as he was before, and like I have to try to remember that when dealing with him too, that like, oh, okay, he's been through a lot, but it's just like, I remember him very differently from before he went in. I remember him being like very gregarious, like very outgoing, very like almost wild type person, And then once he came back, like that like outgoingness is like really gone in a lot of ways. That like optimism totally gone. He's very pessimistic now. Like,
that
about
light
everything.
Inside of him dwindled.
Yeah, like that's what he'd probably have to say, that like, it broke him.
It broke him. Wow. And so he's kind of stuck on this survival
Yeah.
mindset.
Stunted, really.
Stunted, yeah.
You know, like in a lot of ways, my dad is still the same age of when he first went into prison. You know,
Yeah,
like in a lot of ways, I'm more mature than my own father. You
gotcha.
know,
Wow.
and it's it's rough having to deal with that, but at the same time, like it's like, well, you know, this is just
This is life.
this is life. This I
People
just
go
have
through
to.
this.
Yep, this is
Yeah,
what happens, and
this is what happens. Yeah. I mean, I, in a strange way, it's you're lucky to still have them.
oh
Like he
yeah,
could have died in prison and
oh yeah,
and under terrible circumstances. And yet he found a way. He still got broken, but somehow he still kept it intact to make it out.
he's still surviving.
He's still surviving,
That's
and he's
something you can
kicking.
say
He's
about
still
my dad.
standing.
Yeah, he's still
He's
surviving.
still standing, and I think that's a testament to him and to you becoming a lawyer. You have his genes, so
God.
it's like you're finding your own way, learning through your own personal experiences. And I personally have a similar situation. My dad never went to prison, thank God, but he was involved in different things, and
Illicit activities.
yeah, and he didn't make it. He didn't make it out, So it's hard to look at it and think about it,
Yeah.
but it I think it makes us stronger as humans, knowing where our parents have been, the things that they've been through to
Yeah.
get us here, yeah, that's powerful, man.
I mean,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be an attorney if that hadn't happened to my dad. Like
Yeah.
I might be a doctor or something better, but I definitely wouldn't be this because you say not many 5-year-olds know what an appeal is, but I knew what an appeal was from a young age because like after my dad went to prison when I was like 3, I think, for the first time. Um, and like we would always talk about like how he's got an appeal, there's an appeal. Like, what about the appeal?
What, mommy, an appeal. We have the appeal.
They used to tell me that dad's in school right now, Ben. Like, we'd have to go
Wow.
visit. We go visit him up at some prison up in North Florida. We drive about 3 hours, and then we go to the prison compound. They're like, we're gonna go visit dad in school. Like I've never seen a school like this.
Yeah.
After a while, my mom was like, told my grandparents, like, we can't keep telling them this because they're going to be afraid to go to school one day, like,
there's police officers everywhere.
Yeah.
There's guards. There's no teachers.
It was so weird going every weekend to see your dad and and like,
Yeah.
you're too young to understand it when
They
you're
wear
4 or 5.
orange uniforms.
They were brown.
Or they're brown.
They were brown or blue. Okay, I remember. Yeah, brown or they all wear the same thing.
Yeah.
And we go through the check-in, right? And then they take us to like either like something like a cafeteria or like directly outside, like a little like outdoor cafeteria. I don't know, picnic tables and what have you.
Yeah.
And mom and dad would sit there and talk, and and we'd run around. Remember one time my brother busted his head, got a giant
At the jail?
at the prison.
At the prison?
We were
What
running around
the
and he's in flip flops and his flip flops caught something and he went and it was like I'm a large man now, but for a child it was like the entire right side. Just I remember it's just throbbing out like, and we had to go to the emergency room like. That's probably like the last time we went to the prison, actually, when that happened.
Yeah.
But
so you became a lawyer, and I'm assuming your dad is immensely proud.
oh yeah, I'd like to think he is.
Yeah.
I know my mom is very proud.
Right.
I'm like the first person on my dad's side of the family to graduate college. So first person to become a professional. And he's very proud. But I don't know. I just for my dad, like I feel that like is he proud? Like, it's like he's proud, but like at the same time, it's like, does it matter to him? Like I'm sure he would tell people he's proud, but like, do I feel that, on the day to day? And it used to be like when I was getting ready to go to law school and stuff, like, and I had to be having like personal issues. He used to say, "Oh, if you can't deal with this, how are you going to be an attorney? If you can't deal with being stressed out about blah blah blah, how are you going to be an attorney?" Right? Like,
Yeah.
I ran a business with him and my brother for a little while, like a pet food store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to argue with him all the time about things, and I get really upset about stuff, and he'd be like, "Well, if you can't handle this, how are you going to be an attorney?" And it's like, man, I'm not dealing with my dad and my brother when I'm an attorney, like,
Right.
like I think that this is something a lot of attorneys deal with, which is like your personal issues sometimes can feel like blown out of proportion, and like so much more difficult to deal with than like when you're dealing with the exact same thing for like a client you're representing,
Right.
like,
Right. Yeah.
and I think my dad would like to see me making more money, overall, because like, I think he could use a little help himself, and
Yeah.
I'm not rolling in the dough right now with what I do, especially like when I was at the public defender's office, like, making a pile of beans. They pay you. They changed the law when I started, and it was like such a big deal. Going to offer you $50,000 to be a public defender.
That's it? That's it?
That's what it was like when I started. 50,000.
Oh, that seems.
And our public defender's office was like, we are above the curve. We pay you more than the state attorneys make, and you get 53. And it's like, and you will be thankful for that 53.
How is that even? I mean,
It's tough.
yeah, that's really tough. You go to
Yeah.
school, it's super hard.
If
And you went to UF. It's not like just any school. It's like a top tier school, and then you land at
And getting the public
doing
defender.
the community
Yeah.
and people and victims a favor, by putting all of that mind into these cases, and that's it. That
Yeah.
doesn't seem right.
And the public defender's office here in Orlando, in Kissimmee, where I worked, it's like one of the hardest ones to get into in the state, too.
What?
Everyone wants to be a PD here in
But
Orlando.
why?
Because Orlando's a great place to live, and
But
like,
not with that pay.
no. I mean, you stay around long enough and you could make $100,000.
Long enough meaning. How
So
long?
I've been an attorney about 5 years. There's an attorney that started when I started that's making 103. Because you can look up every attorney,
It's a public
every public defender,
yeah.
every state attorney. You can look up their
So
salary.
how long is that exactly?
5 years.
5 years, $100,000.
Yeah. 6
I
years
mean,
maybe.
but still, though, you're 5 years in it, and then you make $100,000.
And that's the max you're gonna make.
And that's the max.
Yeah, you're not
Wow.
gonna be making 120, 150.
So
and like,
did-
and with that 100, you're doing a lot of extra stuff too to get over that mark.
But seriously though, why would you want to be a public defender making $50,000 when you went to UF and you can?
Because the best job in the world.
I mean, is there like a status thing with that? Is there like I
No.
get to then work at this bigger place, or is there like what's the
Maybe
thing?
if you're a prosecutor, you get status, right? You get to carry a little badge around,
yeah.
Everybody looks up to a prosecutor. Everyone's afraid of a prosecutor, everyone wants to be on the
Yeah.
good side. Public defenders, you get no respect. Most people don't even think you're an attorney.
Oh,
You got to
boy.
explain to them that, no, I'm actually an attorney. I went
Right.
to UF. I graduated fourth in my class.
And they think that because it's free for them.
It's free. They don't pay.
don't
I want a
pay.
real
Wow.
attorney, they would say oftentimes.
Oh, my
It's like,
God.
man, listen, I passed the bar just like everybody else,
Right.
okay? Like, I am a real attorney. But, like,
So
the
demeaning.
good thing, the best thing about being a public defender is you can do anything in the law after you do that. Because the amount of cases you have and the amount of work you have to put in, like, in the amount and the people you have to deal with and the issues that come up and the problems you have to deal with, like, everything else is easy after that.
It really prepares you for other stuff.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, rewarding job. Like, being a public defender, like, so much more than being a prosecutor. You can do stuff for your cases. You can file motions. You can take a deep dive into stuff legally, and it's just like, it's a fantastic job. But it's all about learning that experience. Now, some people want to go there and be a lifer. You want to stick in the public defender's office until you die. And I knew people that did. I knew an attorney that I respected a lot, and he did do that. He died making $115, I think.
Wow.
He died right there at the PD's office, never even quit.
Doing God's work, really.
Yeah, working up until the day he died. And he loved it. But did he? Did he live a super comfortable life? Did he live the life? Did he live the life he deserved? Not in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's a good job. It's a good job, and you learn so much. But you get no respect from your clients, no respect from the opposing counsel, and no respect from the judge. Most judges treat
From the judge, even?
Yeah, most judges treat your public defenders like they're defendants wearing business suits. Because most people don't show up to court in a suit, but your public defender's wearing one, and judge treats you just as bad as he treats those people. Especially if you're fighting hard and you're not making it easy for everybody. Because when you're a public defender, you're in the courtroom every day. Okay, you're seeing the judge every day, same judge every day, same prosecutors every day. And they want things to be easy. They want things to be fast. They want to get out of there and they want to get to lunch. They want to get their Friday started, okay? But if you're whoa, we need to slow things down here, we need to respect this human being's rights. That's when they start getting a little annoyed,
Interesting.
And they don't respect that,
Yeah.
Some of your older judges may, but most of your judges, they don't respect that.
Yeah.
Most of them are prosecutors wearing a robe,
Got it.
And most judges are former prosecutors.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you know? Statistics? Do you know?
It's over half. It's
wow.
over half. Yeah, most judges are former prosecutors.
And what's the reason for that, you think?
First of all, it's easy to get appointed. Like I said, a lot of people respect a prosecutor, right? And in my opinion, a lot of the prosecutors I've dealt with have that authoritarian mindset, or have that I want to be in charge mindset. They really like being in charge. And and most public defenders aren't trying to be in charge,
Right.
You're not going to see public defenders make up a small proportion of judges on the bench,
Yeah.
And in our state, you're not going to see Governor Governor Ron DeSantis appointing a public defender to the bench. You're going to see him appointing a prosecutor.
Is that what our
He's tough
Supreme
on crime.
Court? Is that what our Supreme Court is mostly?
I would imagine they're mostly. I don't know them all, but I do know there are a couple on the Florida Supreme Court at least. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all former prosecutors, actually.
Yeah.
But gotta probably have a civil attorney or two up there.
Mm-hmm.
But most your judges, they're gonna have some experience in the prosecutor's office.
Gotcha.
And it's just what happens.
So you did that for a while. There was a point in time where I thought, for sure, you were going to become a lawyer for a cannabis company or something like that.
I was before I was a public defender.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
wow. Okay.
Right out of law school, I graduated a semester early from law school. And while I was getting ready to take the bar, I had a friend who was working for the CEO. He was the assistant to a CEO of a large recreational and medical cannabis company based out of Washington State. Okay. The company's called Have a Heart Compassion Care. Okay. Mm-hmm. And at the time, they had 5 licenses for shops in Seattle and the surrounding area. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to expand to other states, and they were in the process of obtaining some licenses for other states, and they wanted to bring on some attorneys. And I flew out there to interview with them, and they loved me, and I loved them. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world because, I'd been doing stuff for marijuana, cannabis reform for years.
We were involved in a lot of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when I interviewed with them, they talked about having me help them with their legal compliance, like making sure that they were following the laws and that their employees were like up to date on what the laws are,
Yeah.
Do you have this sign up? Are you selling this amount? Are you telling
Right,
people
right.
this, that,
Yeah, because every state is different, so keeping up with it is super important. Yeah.
Exactly. But when I got out, like I accepted the job and stuff, but when I got out there, they decided to put me on a team that was writing applications for licenses, right?
Interesting. Okay.
And like what they wanted me to do is, let's say they wanted to get a license in North Dakota. So go to North Dakota, figure out what you need to get a license, how the process works, put together an application, right? So I was doing that mostly, and I was also doing the compliance stuff like as part of it, right? Mm-hmm. And then also like if they needed a contract written, like I'd write a contract. Like I remember writing a contract for a snowboarder they were sponsoring, and I thought that was so cool to write, a snowboard cannabis sponsorship, contract. Like that was pretty awesome.
Writing that out must have been awesome.
Yeah. And
they will put cannabis products.
As exciting as a boring contract can be,
Yeah.
But so I'd help them out with like whatever issues they needed, but primarily with the license application process. And the license application team, it was like the least culture-y part of the company, right? And like I joined it because I liked the company's culture and like it felt like kind of like being a bit of a renegade, being an attorney but also working for a cannabis company, and also I had my own like Instagram that I would do stuff with. We'd like make videos of me like unboxing products, okay, and like talking about the laws and stuff, and like I love doing that, right?
Yeah, I bet.
But like the license application team, like they weren't really succeeding at their licenses. Like we got a couple of them secured, but like we were like getting less than half of the ones we applied for, and like I wanted to move off of the team, and I got put in HR eventually, and I helped them like unionize. I helped the company unionize. They wanted to have like a union for all the employees in the shop. And it was like the first time any cannabis company in Washington had unionized before. Mm-hmm. And most of the time when a company unionizes, they don't want to do that. Like they want that to be the last thing. Like you don't want your employees to unionize. It's going to cost you a lot of money.
Right.
But being a cannabis company, you don't have access to health care. You can't buy stuff on the federal market. Like you can't do a lot of things federally because it's still federally illegal, right? So in order to get health care for their employees, which they wanted, they had to unionize, right? So it was a very weird situation where the company wanted to unionize.
Yeah.
So like I helped draft up the agreement, the collective bargaining agreement, it's called. I helped, with the voting, and like, they unionized, and it was pretty cool. To be part of that process. That was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. And like, after that happened, I started doing a lot more stuff with compliance, like going around to the different shops that we had and like training them and like, like answering questions and like doing a lot of stuff. But after about 8 months of me being there, January 1st of the following year, the company had sold itself to a much larger company, and they laid all the headquarters staff off.
Wow.
Yep, all of us got laid off in headquarters staff. About 70% of the headquarters staff got laid off, including me, And so I was stuck up in Seattle, no job, no bar license up in Seattle. I hadn't yet taken the bar. Like I had signed up to take the California bar, like later that month, okay? And because the company was going to pay for that because they wanted me to be their California attorney.
Right.
And but they sold out, and then they fired us all, and I got stuck up there in the cold in Seattle in like one of the worst winters they had, and moved back here and became a public defender.
Gotcha. Was there anything that you could have still done with cannabis up there, you think?
I could have stayed around and looked for like another job, but it was like is such a niche thing, and like getting that job was so like happenstance too. It's like my friend being assistant to the CEO.
Yeah.
And my friend, he moved away the month after we unionized. After we unionized, it was like 4 months into the job, we unionized, and his wife got a job in California, and because he was so instrumental in helping them unionize, the union gave him a job too.
Oh.
And he just, see ya. Thanks for moving up to Seattle for me, Ben.
Right. Dang.
And in Seattle, being from Florida, like Seattle's really different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the weather's cold, the people are cold. Seattle had a lot of people move in for the tech industry, right?
Yeah.
And what used to be just a small town, like blew up, and like all the people that used to live there hated all the new people that moved in because they felt like they ruined it. And all the new people that moved in, like most of them are like personality-less drones, okay? And
because they're all tech nerds.
Yeah, tech. Even the people on the application team that I worked with, that's all they were like, tech. They were like they wanted to use technology for everything. Like even with our applications that we were doing, they wanted to use, it wasn't really AI, but it was very similar to it. It was just like a program that would generate applications, based off of a template you gave it. And it's like, and I used to tell them, like, you guys, we can't just copy and paste all of our applications. We need to be doing unique, individualized, like you can't do an application for, this entire state of North Dakota as you would for like Culver City, LA, right? Like
you need very specific people.
LA is going to want one thing, the state of North Dakota is going to want something completely different.
Yeah.
And like, we were able to win an Iowa application, right? Like that, and like, oh, let's use Iowa's thing for everything. It's like, but you can't use Iowa for New Jersey,
right?
Like,
right.
You can't use, and like in California, that's where we had the most licenses. There's places in California that are nothing alike. Like, I don't know if you ever heard of Blythe, California.
Never.
Okay, like Blythe is on the border of Arizona, in the middle of the desert. Okay. And like, there's nothing around for miles. It's a cow slaughtering town. Okay,
oh boy.
It's just got like it smells bad. It looks bad. It's just
it gets a
desert
bad rap.
Town, right?
Yeah,
But
it's
then you
the
have
Bithlo of California.
Yes, and then you have like San Bernardino. You've heard of San Bernardino?
I've heard of San Bernardino.
Yeah, it's a nice, upscale, rich coastal area, right? Like you cannot treat those two places like the same.
Right.
You can have the same companies there. You can have a McDonald's in San Bernardino and in Blythe, right? But like the McDonald's in Blythe, you're gonna have to treat differently than the McDonald's in San Bernardino or LA or San Francisco. Like we had one in downtown San Francisco, right? Like that was right across from the what's the big expensive department store? Maybe a Bloomingdale's. Right across. No, the famous one.
Saks Fifth.
Is that in San Francisco?
Oh, I don't know if that's in.
It's some giant super
that comes out
Ritz,
of that area.
And right across the street we had a store,
Gotcha.
and that company like fought against us moving in there so hard. It took years for them to actually open up, But like you can't treat that shop like you treat the one in like the more gang-prone area of LA,
Yeah.
Like, because like some of our shops, like they wanted to treat like, oh hey, we may or may not be affiliated with the Bloods, okay? Like,
yeah.
We were affiliates with the company Cookies, okay? And there's rumors that Cookies and the Bloods are very connected and stuff like that, and like we really like to play that up sometime, but when you're trying to move into like was it San Bernardino? When you're trying to move into one of those ritzy, upscale neighborhoods,
you tone that down.
You don't, yeah. They want to hear the medical side of things,
right.
And they want to hear that you've been in business for decades and helping patients. They don't want to hear how cool you are.
Right.
They don't want to see your logos and your swag. Okay,
Yeah.
your merch.
Yeah.
Like. It was a really interesting experience, and I liked it a lot, and it taught me a lot about cannabis, but like it wasn't something that I saw myself able to keep doing, like, and over the years, like the cannabis industry has like evolved, and it used to be like a lot of people like really into the culture, a lot of people really into like, the plant and, the fraternity of it. And it's kind of evolved into just money, because it's so much money.
I bet there's a lot of money. So how is it here in Florida? Do you know anything about what's going on here in Florida?
Well, first of all, we have the recreational amendment on the ballot for this November.
This November, so 2024 November.
I don't think it's it's either September or November.
Okay.
I mean, August or November. Pretty sure it's in November.
Gotcha.
It's the recreational cannabis legalization. It has to get 60% of the vote to pass.
I bet here people in Florida are waiting for that.
Oh, we're dying for it.
Yeah. Is it a supermajority that has to pass?
Yep.
60%?
It's a constitutional amendment. So 60% or more to
and
pass.
no appeals after that. Once it's recreational, right?
Yeah, but they can regulate it.
Oh, they can still regulate. That's where they get you, right?
Yeah,
it's like, it can't go over 20% THC or whatever
Exactly.
it is.
That's been in the news a lot lately, the THC caps.
Right.
And I just heard today that bill was dead in the water.
Which one?
The THC caps for medical.
Okay, gotcha. So once it goes recreational, it'll be open, pretty much.
Right now, from what I've seen, is that there will be a cap of 30% THC. Can't be more than 30% THC.
But I thought you just said that the bill was killed
That's
with
for
the cap.
the medical, I believe.
The medical side.
I don't know for sure if this is true about what I've heard, but I've read that it's going to be 30% THC and then no more than 10 milligrams of THC per edible. Right? That already exists, the 10 milligram rule.
Yeah.
But they were trying to lower the caps very low for medical cannabis. I think to even like in the teens,
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't make any sense. Like, how do these? What makes a legislator know that a 15% arbitrary number is the number?
They don't.
They don't. Makes no
Lobbyists,
sense.
you know.
Lobbyists, people that have interest in other things that don't want marijuana in the state.
Now, I'm involved with the local Democratic Party and stuff, and they're very cynical about this. And like I was talking to our president the other day, and I'm like, what do you think they're doing this for? He's like, to get campaign donations. Why do they why do they have these caps so they can get the cannabis companies to donate to them so they don't vote for it? Wow. So
it's a game basically that they're playing. They know it's probably not going to matter or do anything.
Whenever you see a legislator, state house person, state senator, whenever you see them trying to pass something scientific, like, you can guarantee they don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Got it.
Like, they don't know what the heck. Like, they're not scientists, know.
Yeah.
Most of them probably are lawyers, okay? And, like, just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean you know anything about science, And I guarantee there's not a chemist up there trying to vote on THC percentages. But, like, you can stoke fear, being like, oh, the marijuana today is not the marijuana from when we were kids.
We hear that all the time. Where did that come from? What is that?
Well, I'll tell
Is
you.
it
Like, when
boomers?
we were smoking back at UCF a decade ago, we'd be lucky to have something 20%, 25%. That'd be ridiculous. Now we got stuff in the 35% range. You can go buy it like Jungle Boys, or Cookies or True Leave. You can get stuff in the 30s, but like that was really unheard of back then. That was like primo stuff, and like
it still is kind of.
Oh yeah, I only go to Jungle Boys myself, and like most of the stuff I get is from like 27% to 35%, and like that's the best. Like I'm a connoisseur when it comes to flower, okay, and like that's where I like my stuff to be, and it's like. It's so stupid to me to want to cap that because, first of all, you can't really stop a plant from doing what it wants to do.
Right.
You can't tell the plant, hey, you're at 29%. You better slow down there,
cut it
mister.
off at 30, boy.
Yeah. Like, and also, I can test the same plant 2 times and get 2 different results.
Well, I think there's an even more practical approach to this, right? Like somebody who's smoking or ingesting 30% THC products, they probably don't need to smoke as much,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So if anything, they're actually lowering a little bit their consumption because it's getting the same effect that you would with like what's stopping somebody from doing, 15% for an hour straight, smoking an hour straight versus somebody who does it for like 10 minutes, smokes, totes a joint for 10 minutes, and they're good for the rest
like
of the
if
day.
you got something, if you got a gram at 30% or 2 grams at 15%, theoretically they would do the same amount. You know,
like it makes no sense. Like, what are these legislators thinking? It's not going to stop anybody.
They're afraid of the THC.
But have these people even smoked? Do they even know anything about marijuana? Do they know anything about cannabis?
Not.
Most likely not. Yeah.
Our legislature loves regulating stuff they know nothing about.
Yeah. So speaking of legislators not knowing anything about cannabis, like what would happen if right now on camera we just toked up? Is there any
I got a
laws?
medical license, so
You have a medical license?
I can smoke right now if we wanted to.
So
I got a vape.
Oh, you have a vape. So you smoke right now. Nothing
This actually
happens.
is a vape from my old company I used to work for, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this, this is.
Jungle
I'm not
Boys?
going to say where I got this from because if it came out of state, I'm not technically allowed to have it.
Got it. So cool. So the law here is if you have a medical license, you can pretty much smoke in your house, no problems, no questions asked, right?
I mean, yeah, you're not.
Whiskey, baby. Actually, let me do a little refill here. Is Rose still coming?
Let's check on that.
Let's check on that. Yeah. Let's fill you up, baby. Now, what if somebody like me who doesn't have a medical license ends up smoking on camera and it gets out there?
Well, I mean, are you possessing it?
No.
Okay, yeah.
So possession is the big factor here.
Yeah, and first of all, okay, even if you did smoke this right now, like, where's the proof that it's actually THC? This literally could be a tobacco pen that I just said was a, cannabis.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think it is tobacco, and I maybe should try it because I do tobacco.
Yeah. See, just go ahead and hit that.
Okay. Well, here we go, guys. This is my first time trying tobacco.
Gently now. Did it work? Yeah.
Yeah. Did I do that as a professional? Did I look profesh? Did I look like a professional?
Always,
That's cool. All right. I love the color. I love that golden color.
Well, this one's called Skywalker OG.
Okay.
Okay, and this actually comes from California. Okay,
Bless you.
Transporting it, I don't know how it got here. Because transporting it across state lines is still illegal.
Yeah. I've heard of these people that they have a medical license in their state. They're driving to a medical state, but in between they get stopped. And then the cop is like, "Hey, what are you doing with this?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, but I'm coming from New York or Florida or wherever, and I'm going to California." And then Texas or whoever is like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?"
Texas is the big one.
Texas is the big one.
They love doing that.
They love doing that because they know it's happening.
Yep. And they will felony you up right away.
But that has to be illegal.
Nope.
You're just traversing through the state.
Oh, that is illegal, yeah.
No, I'm saying it should be illegal to stop somebody who has a medical license. They can clear.
Well, first of all, it's still federally illegal.
Yes, but in the state that you come from, which you have a license for, you also have a medical license for that state. So you can prove.
But now you're in Texas.
Right.
Where it's illegal.
So because it's federally illegal, and because you're in the state that goes by the federal mandates, and within that state it's also illegal, then they're like, we're gonna ignore the fact.
Yeah, you're under arrest. Wow. This would be a felony because it's manufactured. Okay, most states have a law about possession of flour up to a certain amount. It's not a felony. After a certain amount is a felony. But if you take it and you transform it into something else, like oil,
Yeah.
oil is almost always a felony. I mean, in Florida, it's a felony, to just
Interesting.
possess cannabis oil.
So, for example, in Texas, it's completely illegal. Like, there's not even medical.
Ooh, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't
I'd have
think
to
so
look
either.
it up. I'd have to look it up.
Let's look it up. Let's find
Let's
out.
just see.
Let's just see. Is it medical in Texas? Because, for example, I've seen Joe Rogan, who lives in Texas now.
Yeah, he smokes on his stuff all the
Yeah,
time.
he smokes weed all the time on his podcast. What's the deal with that?
Because he's rich.
But is it like you said, like it's going to be hard to prove that what he is smoking is actually not or is a cannabis?
You are allowed low THC cannabis for epilepsy in Texas.
Pretty sure Joe Rogan does not have epilepsy. Yeah, I think he's just rich. Unless
After
rich,
160
unless being rich gives you epilepsy.
But then it's like you see him on his show smoking something.
right, you
How
don't
do you
know.
know what he's smoking?
Gotcha. So
Right.
there is kind of this. You have to
need
prove
the
it.
possession. You need to like.
You need the proof.
We got him with the herb.
Yes, yes.
Now he's
yes.
screwed.
Now he's screwed.
Yeah. And how are they going to get him with the herb? You know,
Right.
like
right.
how are the cops going to get?
So
to that
what you're
point?
saying is that if he shoots an episode where he smokes in Texas,
Uh-huh.
it's not in sufficient evidence the fact that he said that he smoked weed on his podcast and cops know where that is to just go in there.
Nope. First of all,
Wow,
because like
okay.
smoking it is not illegal, possessing it is.
Wait a minute. Aren't you possessing if
mean,
you're smoking?
For that
Technically?
second, you're possessing it.
Right,
you know,
right.
you're holding it, but like, how much are you possessing when you're holding the joint? 0.5 grams. 2 grams. Like you,
Interesting.
and then as soon as you pass it off, you're not possessing it anymore.
So okay,
And
but,
like
but
when a cop
let's just
arrests
take
you,
the word.
when a cop arrests you, like, do you have it on you at the time? Like, or is it in your immediate control?
Huh,
Like, okay, let's say me and you are driving in a car,
right.
okay, and in the car there's a bag of weed. Or
Okay.
let's just say cocaine, because like cocaine's like clearly illegal.
Well, but let's say on weed. Let's say on weed.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just
In Texas, it's completely illegal. You have a bag of weed.
It's the same contraband, okay? But let's just say it's a bag of weed, okay? If we're driving along and we get pulled over and they pull us over and the bag of weed sitting directly between both of us, we both could get arrested for it.
because we both
Are in
have
possession and we're in control of it. We could grab the weed, It's in our
because
control.
it's in the car.
It's in the car that
and
we're
the
in.
car is considered like my house, basically.
Yeah. What we're really concerned about is the area in your immediate control. Like, what is stuff that you can manipulate in your environment right
Okay.
now?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So we're driving along, get arrested. We could both get arrested for it, but we could both get off of that, right? Okay. We could both be like, it's not mine. I don't know whose that is. It's not mine, though.
I don't know whose it is.
First of all, the smartest thing to do is to just shut up and wait for your attorney, okay? Always. Don't ever say anything. But, you get arrested, I want to talk to an attorney,
Got
okay?
it, got
Okay,
it.
always.
First thing always is
an attorney.
Let me talk to an attorney because
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
I don't know
I don't know
where that
anything.
came from. I don't know what that is. I don't know where it came from, okay?
I thought it was basil.
Now, we put that weed in my jacket pocket and we get arrested. You're probably not going to get arrested because it's not in your control. It's in my jacket pocket.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Okay.
And I could just say I didn't know
Yeah, I
anything.
didn't know he had any weed. They're going to let you go.
Yeah.
They're going to arrest me. Right?
Right.
Same thing. Now, we take the weed, we put it at the floor beneath your feet, right? We both could probably still get arrested because it's in the interior of the car. Okay?
Okay.
And it could come down to who owned the car,
Whose side it was
who's
on.
Okay, yeah. Usually
Maybe it was
the
in
driver,
my side door pocket, you
Right.
know?
Now we take that weed and we put it in the trunk. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we furthered it away.
Got it.
And probably only the person driving the car is going to get arrested. Probably.
I was going to say maybe not even, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we
Somebody
put
could
it
have
in
put
the
it
trunk. We put it in a locked box in the trunk. Now we're probably both walking away because how are they even getting into that locked box?
there. Oh, I see.
You need a warrant at that point.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, I see. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And heck, for them to search the trunk, they would need reason to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, say we're getting pulled over. Let's go back to the initial scenario. Just a big bag of weed sitting in between us. We get pulled over.
A big bag, like we're talking about, like,
Like
2
2
pound
pounds of
bag.
weed, and it's just clearly just sticky, dank, purpley weed. And like it's just
Beautiful
obvious,
green,
obvious.
forest green.
Pound for you, pound for me, all in the same bag, right? The cop comes up to the window. He looks in.
Right.
He's pulling me over for speeding, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looks in the window. He sees that. Like he knows based off of his training that that's weed. You know, we're both under arrest now.
Yeah.
Like it's right there in between both of us, right?
Right.
So now let's take that weed and let's put it under your seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
He comes up to the window and he looks in. He's pulling us over for speeding. He doesn't see it now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now we got to ask, how is he going to find it? Because he can't just start looking through my car for pulling me over for speeding. He can't ask me. He can say, sir, can I search your vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can always ask to search.
They can ask anything they want.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a matter of how you answer. They could say, do you have a bag of weed in your car?
Oh, yeah. But remember, if they're asking you something, that means they need something for you, right? So like if a cop asks if he can search your car, that means he needs your permission to search your car, right?
Right.
So in our first scenario, cop's not asking to search the car. He sees the bag of weed. He's going to take us out, arrest us, and then he's going to look for other stuff, right?
Yeah.
He might find a gun under the seat. You know, he
Right.
might find, more weed. You know, he might find other evidence of crime, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's allowed to do that because he found the weed and he arrested us on the weed. And now because he's arrested us, he's searching incident to our arrest. Called a CETA, search incident to arrest, okay?
Okay.
Legal, right? But now he comes up, he looks in the window, he doesn't see anything. He can't just search our car. Like he's got no reason to do it. But he can say, sir, may I search the vehicle? And then if I am stupid, I will say, sure, I got nothing to hide. Yeah, go ahead, search. I don't want to seem like I'm being, squirrely or something. Cop just asked me to search the car. I want to make it seem like I'm helping him out. But I'm not helping anybody, okay? Actually, I'm making his job more difficult. Now he has to search because I just gave him permission to, right? But, like, if they ask you for permission, that means they need your permission, okay?
Yep.
If they ever ask you for permission, that means they need. So if they ever ask you permission, you just say no.
And I want an attorney.
You might not need to ask for an attorney then. Like, you just say, no, thank you, officer. I'd rather not. You don't need to ask for an attorney then, okay? You ask for an attorney when you're being questioned, okay? And if well, I'll get to that. But let's just give a rundown about, like, keeping your rights safe here. Like, so, if they ask you to search, they can search. Now, let's play the scenario again. He comes up to the car. He looks in. He doesn't see anything, but it just reeks of freshly burnt marijuana. Or it just reeks of, like, the bag. It's just coming out of the bag. It's so strong. It's just like the cop smells fresh marijuana. He can now search based off of that smell. Because that smell has given him what they call probable cause. Okay, the smell of weed. And now a lot of this is like debatable whether it is probable cause or not. But like, the typical scenario is comes up, it smells like freshly burnt weed. The person looks high. They got bloodshot eyes. They're slurring their speech, whatever. Now he's got several things to point to be like, there's probably marijuana somewhere in this vehicle. Now he can ask us to step out and he can search, right?
Yeah.
How else could he search it? If he's arresting us on another just random issue, like I got a warrant out for my arrest, he could now search the car.
Got it.
Right.
But what if he asks you point blank, do you have a bag of weed? And you say no. At that point, he drops it, right?
Well, you're lying to a police officer now.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, would the cop then take your word for it? Or if they suspect, because I guess I'm trying to get into the nuance of it. Like, what if it smells like it
They're gonna ask you something,
and they ask you, do you have a bag of weed?
They're gonna ask you something
some
like
incense.
Yeah, see, that's. I would not say no if I did have a bag of weed in there.
Interesting.
I would not say no. I would try to answer it in a different way, though. Like,
yeah.
Do you have a bag of weed in your car? Oh, it might smell this way because I just burned some incense.
Yes.
Or I've got this air freshener here. Or, my friend here always reeks, but he doesn't actually smoke, like, but usually they'll say, do you have anything in your car you shouldn't, or is there any drugs or whatever in your car? And the answer to that is no, then he'll say, can I search? And then you're like, no, you may not,
No, you may not.
No,
Yes.
thank you,
Always very respectful.
Yeah, no, sir. Yeah, always respectful.
Be very respectful. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
There's something I always like to talk to people about with is like my 3 best ways to avoid getting arrested. Have I ever done this with you? Ever asked you, like, what's the top way to avoid getting arrested?
You're asking me?
Yeah, what's the best way to avoid getting arrested?
Just not doing it in the first place?
Don't break the law. That is the best way to avoid getting arrested. Is first know the law,
right,
and don't break the law. So, like, if in Texas, you're not allowed to have weed, smoke it all before you get to the state line.
Or you could put in a safe security lockbox in your
you're
trunk.
breaking the law. It's still breaking the law.
It is breaking the law.
So I'm saying
right.
rule 1
don't
is
break
don't break the law.
Gotcha.
Now
that
rule
makes a lot
2,
of sense. Yeah.
if you have to break the law, don't break more than one at a time. Okay? So if you've got something in your car you shouldn't have, like us in our scenario driving through Texas with the weed.
Right. Because we're bringing it to grandma who needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a dumbass for speeding.
Right.
Like, I never should have given him a reason to pull us over to begin with.
That's such a good point.
I never should have given him a reason to pull us over in the begin with. Because, like, so many times when someone gets arrested on something, it's because they were doing other things too. Like, how are they going to find the contraband in your car if they never even pull your car over to begin with?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to find it, So, like, if you've got something in your car you shouldn't have, don't be speeding. Make sure your taillights are working. Like, have your insurance with you. Make sure your license isn't suspended.
Yeah.
And, like, if one of those things are going on, like, if you're a notorious speeder, if your license is suspended, if your taillight's busted, like, don't put something in your car that you shouldn't have, That's going to be your second, probably best way to avoid getting arrested.
Right.
And then the third best way, and this is like the thing that I would see always lead to people's arrest, is shut up. Okay. Like, you don't need to talk to the police. Like, no, thank you.
Keep quiet.
Yeah. No, thank you, officer. I would not like to, I'm not talking about my day, and like, for so many people, that's the hardest thing to do, to just politely not engage in conversation because, like, they feel like they need to be cooperative. But, like, you have the right to remain silent, okay? And, and if they start asking you questions, you can always say, I'm not comfortable answering anything without an attorney.
Right.
And as soon as you ask for an attorney, they're supposed to stop asking you questions. They're supposed to, but they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep, and as soon as you tell them they don't have permission, they're not supposed to ask again, but they're going to keep doing it until you do relent, know? And if they're ever asking you for anything, that means they need that. Because if they could just arrest you, they would.
Right.
Like, they don't think twice about it. Like, they love arresting people. Like, it's their job to arrest, okay?
Yeah.
It's not their job to, like, the police's job is not to, like, protect people, okay? If a guy with a gun comes and is trying to kill you, the cop's not going to, like, put his body in front of you and be like, get behind me, Like, no, his only job is going to be arrest that person if he can,
Yeah.
Like, that's his only job. Arrest, make the crime, find a crime and arrest somebody on it.
Right.
Like, their job's not to protect and serve. Like, that's the fire department's job. Like, the fire department comes and rescues people. The EMTs come and rescue people. The police's only job, the only thing they can do is arrest or kill people. Like, they can't do anything else. Like, they can't go get you mental health counseling.
Right.
They can arrest you. They can put you in the back of the squad car.
They just follow the law.
As they see it.
As they see it. Which is, and within that state, that's how they see it.
Yeah. And I mean, 2 different police officers might, look at 2 different things completely differently. Like, one cop might not see a DUI and one cop might see a DUI,
Yeah.
But, like, it's not their job to help you. Like, they're not there to help you. Like,
right. That's what your attorney's there for.
that's what, yes, your attorney and only your attorney's job is to help you. A police officer's job is not to help you; it's to arrest you. Like,
So when
that's
they're
how they
asking you-
see as helping you. It's a help for me to put you in prison. You know, it's a help for me to put you in jail, and then you go get probation. You know, like, I'm helping you.
So
Like,
when they ask you questions, they're not trying to help you out.
no. They're not trying to help you
That's
out.
not the cop trying to help you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I'm not trying to discourage people from like contacting the police, like when like a crime happens, you know, like, yeah, it's still our duty to like call the police if, you know, your house gets broken into. You need to call the police. You know, if you see someone with a gun, you need to call, you know, and you're afraid, call the police. But
Right.
like, you know, by involving the police, you're always adding more danger into the situation, you know, like, especially these days, like, you know, you don't know how like, you hear stories all the time of people calling the police and then them like shooting the person that calls, you know,
Right.
like, I saw a video once recently of the police coming into a house and they shoot the child in the house because he came out of a back room. An 8-year-old child just came out of the back room and they shot him.
Crazy.
You know, I don't know if you saw the Acorn video recently.
No. I
Okay.
didn't.
Police arrest this man. I think it was here in Florida. Put him in the back of a squad car, and an acorn falls from a tree and hits the officer
Okay.
that just arrested the guy and just put him in the back of the squad car.
Okay.
He pulls out his gun and unloads an entire clip into the back of the squad car, thinking that he had just been shot by a silenced gun.
That's the most absurd thing.
It literally
I have ever
just happened. Like, it happened back last year, but it's just been in the news over the past month.
That's
Police
crazy.
officer unloaded
So
guy.
did he kill the person?
No, it scared him to death. Of course, you know, didn't have a gun. You know, he was arrested. He was handcuffed in the back of a squad car,
Right.
and the cop got hit by an acorn, fell out of a tree, and it made a weird noise.
Right.
And he thought that someone shot a silent gun.
How does that make sense, though? Like, how is that
It's
defensible in any
because
way?
the police have been trained to see everything as a threat.
Right.
And like they said, the hammer and the nail.
Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
hammers and everything's a nail.
Wow.
Acorn
Wait,
falling
how
out of the tree.
touchy do you have to be?
They're taught that their lives are in danger every moment they're on the job, which is not true.
Right.
Which is not true. Their life is. They think that when they're, and this is like so important for everybody. Like, when you're getting pulled over, that cop is way more scared than you are.
Got it.
Like, he is afraid.
Got it.
Like, he is afraid. And that is why, like, as soon as you see the lights come on, you need to pull over as quickly and as safely as possible to the right-hand side of the road. I don't care if you're on a busy highway and it seems like it would be more safe to be on the left side. They hate that. They hate that. They are trained for you to pull over onto the right-hand side of the road. And, like, you need to do it as quickly as possible. You need to turn on all the lights on the interior of your car. You need to have your insurance, your registration, and your driver's license ready to go, and turn off the car. And, you know, especially if you're a minority, put the keys on your dashboard so they know
my
that.
God, are you serious?
Yeah, that's what I would tell everybody. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Actually, I currently have a copy. Like, I took my insurance, I took my registration, and I took my driver's license, and I put it all on my copier, and I made a photocopy of it, and I've got it folded up in my center console, right?
Got it.
So I could
Okay.
just hand them that right away. Like,
That's
here's
actually,
a copy of
that's
everything.
actually a really good idea.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a secondary resort, but like, ideally, you've got your license, your registration, your thing, hand it to them right away.
Yeah.
And, you know, answer their basic questions. Do you know why I pulled you over? No, sir. No, I do not. Okay, you never know why they pulled you over. Like, you might have been speeding, but they might have pulled you over for something completely unrelated. Like, you don't know why they pulled you over. Like, and don't admit that you were speeding. Like, don't admit that you've broken the law. Like,
Right.
you don't know why they pulled you over because you really don't know why that individual officer pulled you over. Sure, you might have been doing 100 miles an hour, but, you know,
Maybe not.
like, that's for them to prove, okay?
Right.
Like, do you know why I pulled you over, you know?
Oh, yeah. It must have been this 120 I was
Yeah.
doing on the freeway.
And if you got a suspended license, do not have that be the first thing out of your mouth.
Right.
My license is suspended. I know. You just hand them your license, okay? When they come back, oh my gosh, what? Like, Because it's a totally
Astonished.
different crime driving with your license being suspended and knowing versus not knowing.
Oh, really?
Me, I've been pulled over twice for
Okay.
suspended license. Neither time I knew. Like, I was a stupid kid at UCF, and like one time I had sent in my driver's school late and didn't realize that my stuff had been suspended because I sent it in the day after it was due. Like, I sent it in on the 31st and it was due the 30th. Like, license suspended. And then another time, like, I had tickets that hadn't been paid or something, or like, I don't even know what the issue is. And both times the license was suspended like 3 or 4 months. And then I get pulled over and then, you know, I hand him all my stuff. He goes back to his car. I'm like, do you know your license is suspended? And I'm like, oh my God, no, I had no idea. Like, can I call someone to come pick me up? You know, because like if you know your license is suspended, like you're going to jail.
So is that an arbitrary decision by the cop, or like?
Oh, whether you know or don't?
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, you're
well.
acting surprised, but do they arrest you, or do they?
They did not
let
arrest
you go?
me either time.
But what I'm
right?
saying is like,
But I'm a white guy. I was young.
You didn't know.
I didn't know. I really didn't know. Like, I actually didn't know.
yeah,
And, you know, they may have had, like, proof that I didn't know, as in, like, my address on my license didn't match my address where the stuff was sent or something like that, right? But,
Yeah.
like, if you've had multiple tickets for suspended licenses with knowledge and then he's pulling you over again, it's going to be a real hard sell being like, I don't know. But if it's like your first time, you probably get a good chance of getting away with it if you really don't know. But, you know,
I can only imagine the cop.
you should not admit to knowing ever.
Right. yeah.
Like, you know, but don't tell them your first, like so many of my, as a PD, especially early on, like so many of your cases are suspended license. And like so many of those were like, I know I'm sorry and my license is suspended. It's like, oh man, you're
Right there.
definitely going to jail. Like, why did you tell them all that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and if they ask you, is your license suspended? They know the answer to it. They know if your license is suspended because they just put it in the system. But they want to see if you know, you know? And like I said, if they're asking you, they need something. You know,
Right.
they don't just ask you for fun, you know?
Right. That's such an important thing you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
if cops are asking you questions, there's reasons why they're asking you.
Yes.
They either know or they have a suspicion.
Yes, they're trying to get to that crime. They're
Right.
trying to get to the crime, you know, and they want to see if they can make you get them there. Because, like, and I mean, I'm not saying that cops like arresting people. I'm not saying that they have,
Some do.
I mean,
Let's be real.
I mean,
Some do like it.
yeah, but like, you know,
We've all been there. We know who
their,
that cop is.
it's not their job to like, I mean, their aspirational goal is to protect and serve, right? But that's not their like job duties. Their
Right,
job duty is to arrest, to arrest and control. You know, like
to eliminate that community threat. Yeah.
whether it
as
be
they
the
see
community
it.
threat of the suspended license
Right.
or the cocaine possession or the murder, like, you know, all of those are varying degrees of threats to our community.
But to them, they're like, it's a crime.
It's
you
a
gotta
black
go to
and white
jail.
issue. Like,
Yeah.
you broke the law.
Right. That's so
No.
interesting too.
Yeah.
That they're on high alert because to them, all the crimes are murder crimes.
Yeah.
You know, they're all severe enough to put you in jail, and we need to know, and we need to get you.
And remember,
into jail.
every time they step out from behind that, the entire time they're on patrol, their life's in danger because, like, you know, they could get struck by a vehicle and killed. Okay. And second, every time they're walking up to that door to check on you, they are afraid for their life.
Yeah.
They don't know if you're waiting there with the gun to shoot them as soon as they get there. Like,
Yeah.
they are afraid. So the very first thing you always have to do with an officer is put them at ease. Like, because if you have a man afraid for his life, he's not thinking about your rights at all, you know? But
Yeah.
if you can eliminate that thing and show I am not a threat to you or your safety, and I am going to be courteous and compliant, like, you're putting yourself light years ahead of everyone else. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
it could be the difference between going to jail and not going to jail.
yes.
Simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
me, those times I got arrested on the suspended license, like, had I made them follow me for a distance, you know, like, and that's like the first thing. Like, if you don't immediately pull over and they have to follow you, they're thinking, why hasn't this person pulled over already? What are they doing in that car right now? What are they trying to get away with? Are they about to run? What's going on? You know, if you make them go for any amount of time that's significant, like, you're stacking the cards against you, right?
Yeah.
And if you pull over the wrong way, like,
on the left lane versus the right lane.
Like example, here in Orlando, we got the 408. Like one time I was pulled over and I pulled over into that left thing, right? And like I thought it was more safe for the cop, because, oh, look, we're protected from this, but they're trained to pull people over on the other side, right? Even on busy highways like that. So like his senses were like heightened and he was like more afraid too. Because like also it doesn't fit into his nice little box of how a traffic ticket's supposed to go down.
Yeah.
So like I did get a traffic ticket that time, right? That I probably could have avoided had I pulled over on the other side.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And that's like a very important thing. Always on the right-hand side, and if you cannot pull over immediately, or if like you're a woman and you want to be in like a well-lit area, or like, if there's any reason for you to like give them a distance, you put on your blinker and you slow down under the speed limit, like significantly under the speed limit, like 15, at least, 10 to 20 miles an hour under the speed limit, minimum, like slow
indicating
down,
clearly that you are
about to get over. And if they give you a whoop, if they, if it's just the lights and then it goes lights and sirens or something, then you need to like try to pull over faster. Like, like once they've done that, that shows they're annoyed now. You don't want to annoy them. So like that's the first thing, is like make them feel safe and make them feel not annoyed. Third thing is just like be as polite and courteous as possible, but still standing up for your rights. Like, no, thank you, I don't want to talk about my day. Like, and like if you have to say something like that, you might end up getting a ticket because, he's going to feel like a little offended, but like, don't give him anything, and if you have all the stuff ready to go, they're not going to be asking you too many questions, It's like, I've been pulled over a lot, but I have not had a ton of tickets. Like I'm pretty good at talking my way through things. Like, and me, I've got my driver's license number memorized. So like I've been pulled over and like not able to find my driver's license, and like
we've all been there for sure. Yeah.
And I'm like, K520, blah blah blah, blah blah blah.
You
blah,
memorize it?
Oh yeah.
My goodness.
I can tell you right now.
That makes sense for a lawyer to memorize their driver's license.
Most lawyers don't memorize, but I have to do it because I'm always losing my driver's license. Like I'm always losing my wallet. It's like, do I even know where my wallet is right now? So like I've memorized it, and like, I've had to like, at one time I did get out of getting a ticket. Like it was late at night. I was driving down a road, University Boulevard in Gainesville, like after like having did me and my girlfriend fight? I don't know if we'd fought or whatever, but it's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm on my way home, right? And I'm just zipping down the road, and they pulled me over. And, they pulled me over because they thought I was drunk, but I had not been drinking that night. It was where all the bars are, I was going kind of fast. They pulled me over. I pull over the main road with not really a good place to pull over. So I pull over on a side street immediately, right? Lights on, registration, insurance, can't find the license, okay? Pretty sure it's in my back seat, my pants in the back seat or whatever, but it can't be like rummaging through. So I'm like, officer, here's all my stuff. I cannot find my driver's license right now. I have one and it's valid, but I can't find it. My name's Ben Houston King. My birthday is 6/13, blah, blah, blah. My social security number is this, and my driver's license number is blah, 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 blah. And, and like clearly dispelled anything about being drunk, being able to like rattle all that stuff off, and like they were annoyed, but they weren't out for me. Like they were watching for drunk drivers that night. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and as soon as they knew I wasn't drunk, they're like, okay, be on your way. Now, a couple months later, I am a block from my house, big intersection with a Publix, and my house is just like less than 150 feet. Is that our timer?
No, this is Rose, I think.
She just let herself in?
I just let her in.
Oh, she said here at the gate.
Yep, I just let her in. Tell her third floor, first apartment on the right. Building 1475.
Okay.
All this like Crime talk has made me really want to smoke some more tobacco.
boom.
To kind of relax,
And just to like give another story about like me messing up. So next time, cops at me behind an intersection.
Did I do it right?
Yeah.
I think I did it right.
Cops at me behind the intersection, lights me up. My house is like 150 yards up on the left.
Very close.
Very close, right? So I'm thinking the smartest thing for me to do is to just pull up to my house. Okay? Park
Which
in
is
my
what,
drive.
2 more minutes down the road?
No, just like 15 seconds down the road.
Got it. Makes
Right.
sense to me.
Right? Yeah, it's like 150 yards. Like through the intersection, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, maybe 10 Mississippi to the left, right?
Yeah.
And I pull into my driveway, right? And like that cop and like 2 other cops, like all just pull in the driveway too,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they were annoyed.
Big mistake pulling into a driveway like that. Like, they're thinking he's trying to run. He's trying to run inside. He's trying to get away. This does not fit my mold of a traffic stop.
At worst case scenario, that's not even his house. We need to protect those people.
Yeah. See, like you're thinking like a police officer now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Best case scenario, this guy's just pulled over someplace he thought was safe, Worst case scenario, he's putting a random family in danger, And like, I got a $175 ticket for a headlight being out. I had no idea the headlight was out, whatever. But because I messed up the pullover, like they got me as hard as they could, or whatever they could.
I think we need to come up with a thing right now.
Yeah.
For thinking like the cop, right?
Ooh,
so
yeah.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
It's an acronym.
Okay.
SAC.
Okay.
Slow down and pull over.
SAP. Oh, slow down.
Slow down.
And pull over.
And pull over. Don't get them annoyed. So
don't annoy. Don't be annoying.
Don't be annoying.
Slow down and pull over to the right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Always to the right. Always to the right. Like always to the right. Always on the right hand. You might think this is a busy road, but they are used to people pulling over to the right. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to pull over to the right and like give them your document, papers.
The C. Courteous.
Courteous.
Be courteous.
Always.
Always. There's no reason for not be courteous. It costs you literally nothing, and you can get away with a $175 out headlight, possibly.
No, see, that to me, that was because, I mean, I was courteous, but like I messed up the pull over.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Slow down and pull over.
Should have pulled over to the right.
Slow down, the S.
Yeah, I didn't need to speed it up and get home. I didn't, and like this happened to all.
You annoyed them.
Boom.
Because as soon as you got to the house, they were like, "Where the hell is this guy going?" I'm annoyed.
Yeah. And it was three vehicles.
Yeah. And at that point, there's no level of courteousness that you can provide.
Once their safety's in danger.
And they're annoyed. Game over. So you got to get...
Slow down.
Slow down.
Don't annoy.
Don't annoy.
Pull over to the right.
Pull over to the right and be courteous.
Yeah. And then remember my other 3 rules.
Don't say anything at all.
Yeah, shut up. Shut up. Like, be courteous and quiet.
And
Shut up.
Sacks. It's called sacks.
Sacks.
The last one is shut
Slow
up.
down and pull over to the right.
Don't be annoying.
Yeah.
And be courteous. Give them all your registration stuff and shut up.
Yeah. You can't help yourself by what you're saying. Miranda, anything you say can and will be used against you. They don't use what you say to help you.
Yes, that's such a good point. That they're literally asking you questions to see if you know your Miranda rights. And one of them is to shut up.
Yep.
Literally anything you say will be used against you.
Can't be used for you.
And it can't be used for you. It's like because at the point that you start defending yourself, then you're basically immediately giving yourself away that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you get pulled over for speeding, the cop asks you, "Hey, do you know why I stopped you, you're not going to say, well, it must have been that 120 I was doing.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So you just kind of keep quiet. Don't say anything.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
Guys, how you doing?
So good to see you.
So guys, this is Rose, Ben's girlfriend. She's also an attorney.
Yes.
A much better attorney.
There we go.
Much more powerful attorney.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Damn, going out. Okay.
You know,
Wow.
like a wizard, you know?
Whoa.
Like,
Oh my God, like a wizard. What are you drinking? I need some of that.
You would like some? Yeah, we can get you some. I got the Tullamore Dew here. There's some glasses in the freezer, but I'll get that for you.
Okay.
So we were just discussing.
how not to get
Sacks.
arrested.
Oh, what a nice cat. I love this cat right
You like
here.
this cat? Yeah.
So much nicer than my cats.
We came up with an acronym. Tell us what you think. It's called SACS.
What is it? What's that?
It's your basic 101 for getting pulled over by a cop.
Okay, your rules.
Yeah, we just
No, these aren't my rules. These are Wilson's.
Thank you. All right, they're general rules.
No, she knows my 3. She's heard those
Yeah.
3 over and over.
So
This is Wilson's pulled over. Like,
Pull over situation, right? So I'm thinking that,
That's amazing.
right? He's so lovely. His name is Bruce, by the way.
Okay.
So we were
Thanks.
thinking, enjoy. This is a Tullamore Dew, an Irish whiskey, triple distilled. Do you like?
yes, I do. We
Yeah.
should have had you join us a long time ago.
So Sachs, right? So the idea is that by Ben's assertion of the law, I am trying to think more like a police officer because I honestly don't think that people, when they're driving, put themselves in the mind of a cop. So he's telling me one good thing is that the cop feels in danger, perhaps, because he doesn't know what the situation is like. So he comes in feeling a little bit heightened. So you basically put him at ease, right? And the S is for slow down and pull over. Do it quickly, as quickly as possible.
To the right.
To the right.
Pull over
That's
to the
important.
right.
To the right.
Wouldn't you agree? Right over left every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, you know what? Let's do this.
Mike,
Can you
hurry
get me that chair, Kareem? I'm going to put it right here in the middle. That way I'm not looking both ways. You're very curious about Bruce. Yeah.
Yes, because my
here, hold
cats,
this.
Monsters.
you haven't met my cats, but they don't like anybody pretty much, except for me or Ben.
It's a funny thing. We can just hold it right
They
here.
tolerate me.
Yeah, they just
Here's the deal. Bruce is a cat that was told from a very little baby that any sort of aggression is something that we are going to walk away from. So the mom who I adopted the cat from, she told me that these two cats. I'll hold
You
it
want me to-
actually. You don't have to hold it.
Okay.
That basically these two cats were cats that every time that they tried to be aggressive, so they would kind of go at you and stuff, the owner would just walk away, literally turn around and just walk straight away. Immediately give her no attention. Yeah.
Man, if
And
only I could start over with them, you know what
I
mean?
know
From
starting over
kittens.
is impossible, right? So
They're already the way they
the
are.
other thing I
so-
did was there was some punishments involved.
Oh, what'd you do? Like the spray the water on them?
I didn't do the spray. I did, well, actually, I did do the spray, but I also did a rolled up newspaper.
Oh, you spanked them?
I spanked them. Yeah, I
Those
did
don't
spank
believe
them.
in that.
No, I gotta refer back to my cat books and see if that's one of the strategies.
Yeah,
okay?
I felt like there were a few things that were things that he already was explained to many times. And by this time, he was just doing it almost, it seemed like, on purpose. And I know
Out
that
of
seems like a
spite.
stretch.
See, I can't judge you though, because it's like, well, the results, I mean, they speak for themselves. You know,
We don't
didn't-
know
I
exactly.
didn't know when I got my cats. I didn't know anything about what I was supposed to do. I was just like, okay, just keep them alive, I guess.
Keep
you
them
know?
alive, yeah.
Make sure I'm scooping
Like
the
a
litter.
plant.
Yeah, like play with them. Like, and that was pretty much,
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about disciplining the cat.
I don't think that I spanked him very often. I think I'd say maybe a handful of times in the 2 years that I've had him is a lot. But the other thing that I did was also I carried him like a baby. I actually treated him like a real child. You know, like I carried him. I would like make him go for things. Like he likes to play with like that thing right there with the fan. So I would raise him up there and he would see it and he would like swipe at it, you know? Or maybe he would be looking over there. So I'd be like, do you want to go over there? So I'd pick him up and I'd take him over there. It's almost like I was trying to read him, like what he was sensing and feeling. And I think that developed a trust, a bond, you know? And
I love it.
So now he sleeps with me pretty much every night. Every night I wake up and I'm like this, laying like that, and he'll just be like right there when I'm laying with it. So I think that we have a bond. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to know that, you know, for my future cats.
Now, some people say that it's a genetic thing.
He's just got good genes.
And they say it's a genetic thing, and I don't know exactly if the genetics necessarily speaks to how to indoctrinate a cat. Because just because you have certain genes doesn't mean that you don't automatically, because of your genes, abide by a different set of rules. It's like, well, it's in my genes to be rebellious, man. I don't know if that applies to cats, or I don't know if that applies to humans. I think that
Applies to dogs.
Does it?
I'd say so. I think you got the rebellious breeds, you know.
Well, I don't think it's not just genetic, you know. Even what's his name, Caesar Milan. Even he says, you know, it's not just about the genetics, you know. Just because they have a certain genetics doesn't mean you can't
Teach him.
like help.
Oh yeah. Every behavior is teachable,
Right,
for a mammal.
exactly.
Or unteachable.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
Unlearn
You
versus
just gotta know.
learn.
You gotta learn a new behavior, a new, more productive behavior.
An alternative
Yeah.
behavior. Yeah. Well, like I said, I would see that he'd be interested in that thing up there, so I would take him up there. You know what I'm saying? Like I was involved in raising him,
That's good.
trying to read him as a
really
child.
like this. I like this,
You like this setup?
Tullamore Dew.
Yeah, right. It's pretty good, isn't it?
I never heard of it. Never heard of it before.
How soft is that?
It's good.
It's good, right?
It's good. Best whiskey I ever had.
Ooh, that's a high order.
So unfortunately, I wanted to get a different one that I couldn't find. It's called Angel's Envy, and I highly recommend it. Tullamore Dew, sponsored by Tullamore Dew.
You have a coupon code for that?
There is a coupon, actually. There's a $4 off coupon. So,
Pretty good. Yeah.
You know, like all the
It's so smooth.
podcasts, they have like their own little coupon code for like whatever they're.
Sponsored by Tullamore Dew. We don't have that yet, but hopefully soon. Yeah.
Well, you know, you just gotta ask. Doesn't hurt to ask.
That's true. I think I'm asking right now.
It literally.
You've got me sold.
How many
You know,
people- how many
good.
That's
people
two
have
bottles
that?
you've sold right there.
It's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Everybody,
very good.
Everybody needs a bottle of Tullamore Dew in their house.
Yeah.
Everybody's probably hitting up, you know, Jack Daniels or
I
something.
know.
but
That guy's
Tullamore
so
Dew-
out of
but
date.
Tullamore Dew, though, you know, I don't. It's.
It's different, right?
you know,
I think
yeah.
it's
I
because
like
it's
it.
Irish.
I like it.
I think it
I'm
has
very
something to
happy.
do with the Irish. So going back to really quick to Saks, because
yeah,
we're actually about
Oh
to
yeah,
wrap
we were
up.
talking about that. Yeah.
You came at the perfect time. So Saks, right? We like this acronym Saks. Basically, you slow down, you pull over to the right.
Step one.
Annoying. Don't be annoying.
Yep.
Don't be annoying. And have your papers ready to go. Your license, your
Registration.
registration,
Insurance.
insurance.
Boom. Right there in
Right
your hand.
there in your
right?
hand, ready to go.
I also suggest turning off the vehicle, turning on all your interior lights.
Oh, wow. That's extra.
At
I
nighttime,
mean, but in a good way.
At nighttime, for sure. You want them to be able to see inside your car and see that nothing to be afraid of.
Is
Right.
that the end of the acronym?
No.
Okay, there's more.
Yeah.
Well, the last one is just be courteous. You know,
Okay.
basically be
Okay.
courteous. If you're courteous, you have a higher likelihood of just coming off as an individual who just is ignorant to the law or seems like they're just ignorant. Yeah, they're a humble person just going, not minding their business, not doing anything illegal, and they just happen to be speeding or whatever the case may be. And so the last one, the S is
Another
for
S.
shut up.
Yeah.
Don't say absolutely anything.
And in parentheses, can we put take off any paper wristbands that you have?
Paper wristband.
Take those paper
Oh
paper
my
wristbands
god, that's such a
off.
good point.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Take them off.
Okay, yes.
Speaking from experience
Speaking
here.
from experience,
Oh,
yeah,
experience.
that's gotten me in trouble before.
Got it. Yeah.
You
So
know?
the cop is like, probable cause. All right.
pretty much.
Pretty much. Literally, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, in their head, anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
imagine.
But that's why you say nothing, right? Isn't it? Like, oh, this is from a week ago. You know?
Right,
Or-
like yeah, I mean you're supposed to say nothing, but that's like really hard when there's like an officer like looking you in the face, you know?
Right.
And you just want to go home.
Where's
You're
this
just,
wristband
like-
from?
And you just like will do anything to go home, you know? Like you in your mind like you think maybe I could still get out of this, but you really can't, you know? Once they have it in their mind, it doesn't matter. If you do field sobriety exercises, or even if you don't, they're going to be like, well, I have probable cause anyway because I smell it on you and your eyes are bloodshot and also you're slurring your speech. So that's enough.
Yeah, once
what
they
they
make
say.
up their mind,
Yeah.
there's no unmaking their mind up. Like if a cop pulls you over for drunk driving, like it doesn't matter how you do on the field sobriety exercises.
Got
Like
it.
Yeah,
you
it really
can't,
doesn't.
you
You
can't
can't-
get your way out
Yeah.
by doing perfect because they're gonna find out some way you messed up.
Yeah.
Maybe you started half a second early. You know, maybe you ended. Maybe you ended on 3 instead of after 3. You know,
I heard of one client that had or one person that had gotten out of the arrest after doing field sobriety exercises, but just one person, and
Out
I
of
still
hundreds.
don't fully believe them. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they claim that that's what happened.
I've never seen it
So-
happen. I never saw it happen.
I've
Never seen
it
it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know what? I guess we wouldn't see the DUI arrest
if they hadn't been arrested.
if they didn't get arrested.
But yeah, chances are you're still going to jail.
yeah, you're going to jail, but the question is, this is like the big one. Blow or no blow?
Well, you're the thing is, okay, like
Blow or no blow, that's
usually people say don't blow because, they won't have proof of that. But also like a lot of state attorneys kind of like take offense to it, right? Like they're like, "Oh, well, that doesn't mean anything just because they didn't blow, So,
Because if you blow and you're above 0.08,
yeah.
automatic, pretty much guilty.
And that's probably when you just have to take it to trial, I guess,
yeah.
So not
Let's take
speaking
the
falls
trial.
into not blowing, right? So basically,
Yeah.
it goes by sack
I-
still. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that also would go to the field sobriety exercises too. Like
Yeah.
refuse.
Yeah. But all that, like, if you just like
there's-
refuse, like that enough is not enough to get you off. Like you need like
in Florida?
you need an attorney that's gonna make the jury understand that you weren't just doing that because you felt guilty. It's like they have to show that
You had a reason.
you had a reason. Yeah, you had like a
I'm
valid
diabetic
reason.
and I can't balance,
Well,
like
I mean, or even just like I was told not to. Like I was always told not to do it.
yeah, that's a good reason.
That's
Yeah.
a
My
very
rights.
good reason.
And
But-
yeah,
Have you heard that Florida's trying to change the bloat law?
I didn't know that.
They're trying to make it be a felony
Oh,
to not blow?
to not blow.
See, that's what I was about to ask you. They can't force you to blow.
Not right now.
But if they make that into law, then they're essentially forcing
Yeah.
you.
And a second time refusal will be a second degree felony.
damn.
And
All right,
if you refuse,
So wait a minute. So the answer is going to be blow.
well,
Blow hard.
no, the answer is going to be don't break more than one law at a time. If you're drinking and driving, you are currently breaking more than one law.
like
you
Or
know,
you will be.
You will be.
You
You'll
will
be-
in due time.
you'll be carelessly driving.
Yeah.
And you'll be
such a
driving
good
under
point.
the influence. Like if you just don't drink and drive. Like
And you have a 2-pounder underneath your
yeah,
driver's
and
seat.
in between Wilson and us, as we're driving through Texas drunk, we have 2 pounds of marijuana.
Honestly, like it's like okay, it used to be that maybe you didn't have that many options when you were
Drinking and
You know what I
driving.
mean? But nowadays,
It's
like,
so easy to call the
it's,
Uber.
It's so easy, but it still happens.
Yeah.
and that's okay.
yeah, and if you
okay.
do get arrested, call Rose.
Right.
Yeah.
Call Rose.
Yep, call me.
So do you like that acronym SACS? Do you like that? Based on the law, how the cop would think, and then you react accordingly?
It's cool. Yeah, it's nice. You know, it's
Okay.
It's
All right.
nice. I like
All right,
that.
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Sacks. Sacks. Do you have sacks? Do you have a sack? Use it.
What is it? Slow down
Slow
and
down.
pull over.
Pull over to the right.
Yeah.
Don't be annoying. Have your paperwork. Be courteous and shut up.
And look at your wrist real quick.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sure your wrist doesn't have a band on it.
Yeah.
Little marks. 1 drink, 2 drink, 3 drink, 4
plus
drink.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ben, I guess this is a kind of a good place to just plug in any projects that you're working on.
Oh,
or,
me?
Yeah, any social medias, is there anything you'd kind of like to
Project. You know, I'm just gonna plug.
Plug the DNC or the DEC.
Well, yeah, I mean,
whatever the-
I'm always trying to plug people to get involved with the local politics. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on the executive board of the local Democratic Executive Committee. Okay. I'm a precinct committee person. Okay. And just the thing that I always just want to encourage: vote. You got to get out there and vote. And you know, our elections, especially our local elections, are super duper important. Like
Important. Yeah.
you know, we all think about our presidential elections, right? And just how important those are, right? But like our one vote doesn't really make that much of a difference in the big sea of a presidential election. And also, the president doesn't really affect our lives on a day-to-day basis. Exactly, you know. But these local elections, these smaller things, you know, your county commissioners, your state house members, these small issues, like those things affect you, you know. And so it's really important to be informed and to, you know your candidates, and more importantly, to go out there and vote. You know, that's something that I'm always plugging, just like, you know, we've talked about the cannabis issue. That's on the ballot this year. So like everybody needs to get out there and vote. And you've got until October, like I think it's like October 4th, but I'm just gonna say until the 1st of October to register to vote. And right now in Florida, you should just go ahead and sign up to vote by mail. Like it's the easiest way to do. And if you change your mind and want to vote in person, you can still do that. But just, you know, sign up to vote by mail and vote early, vote often is what I say.
Yeah. I feel like there's always like local elections going on, like every year,
next
like
month.
every year, like, you know, maybe twice a year even.
Oh no, this
More
month
than
now.
that.
There's city elections here in Winter Garden, in Ocoee.
And you wouldn't even know about that.
You wouldn't even know
you
about
wouldn't even
it.
know.
Yep.
You know, I think that actually would make for a great next podcast to talk about like just things that are changing in Orlando,
Yeah.
you know, in the law.
I mean,
Anything else you'd like to?
plug. I'll plug
say-
the best criminal defense firm that I know, Haygood and Haygood.
Nice.
Ask for attorney Rose Hernandez if you ever need trouble with the law.
But also,
Rose taught me everything I know.
so they're both lawyers. Okay, and then people can reach you.
Yeah, I'm Ben King. I'm a civil defense attorney at Andrew Leeper and Associates. We're a small defense firm that just does civil defense. So, like, if you're in a car accident and you've hit somebody else, you know, then you can give me a call. Most of the time, your insurance company is going to pay for your attorney, and you don't need to hire one. But I can represent people, and I guess I can also do plaintiff's work, like sue insurance companies. But I don't really do a whole lot of that.
Yeah, and Ben pretty much already said this, but I'm a criminal defense attorney here in Orlando. I do everything, okay, from your minor little traffic violations to your very serious felonies. So, you know, if you're ever in trouble,
Even sex crimes and murders.
yeah, well, you know, maybe not so many murders. You know what I mean? Try to stay away from
Give those to your boss.
Yeah, not really trying to deal with that, but you know. Anyway, let me know if you're ever in trouble.
Right, that's perfect. So I think we can even interview about that. Like, you know, if you're interested.
Oh,
we could
she
do a
would love to
podcast
talk
on
about
different
that.
things.
Oh yeah,
That'd be cool.
Put her on your schedule.
yeah. Put me on the schedule.
Put you on the docket.
Yeah.
Pencil me in.
Yeah.
What is that, Law and Order?
Pencil me in. Yeah, that's Law and
dun,
Order.
dun, dun, dun,
It's a respectable
dun.
show.
I like
Not
it.
like some shows.
No,
Not
I
like
love
some
it. I grew
lawyer
up on
shows.
it. I grew up on it. It's awesome.
Yeah, me too. You know, I did. My grandmother always had that on the TV.
Yeah, I always watched it. I don't know why. I was
Not
so
me.
intrigued
We
with,
didn't have
with
we didn't have that on the
sex
TV.
crimes.
We did not have that on the TV.
More of a Perry Mason girl.
No, more like, Destilando Amor, Tres Mujeres,
Tres mujeres.
like the no,
The
like the
telenovelas,
novellas,
like Betty la Fea.
yeah, Betty
Yeah, I
la
saw that, I saw
Fea,
that.
I'm just trying to think of like something, just like a quintessential like novella title that's just like something about love and like
La Rosa de Armas.
yeah, something like that. Like there has to be some kind of like dangerous love or like you know what I mean, like something exciting about
Yeah,
it.
my grandma used to love those. So I totally get it.
That's like pretty much all we had on was like Univision and like Telemundo. We were more of like an Univision family though. Really.
Interesting. I was more
what I mean?
Telemundo, I think.
Interesting.
Well, because I grew up in Puerto Rico,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like-
Well,
Telemundo
Mexican,
is like the
so-
thing, but Univision too, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
So okay, so First Talk podcast, we're gonna do a long one next time for
cool.
sure. Thank you so much, Ben, for coming.
Oh,
brother.
yeah, Wilson.
Yeah, now you guys know a little bit more about your laws. First Talk podcast.
Happy to be here.
Tula Mordiu, sponsored by Tula Mordiu. Okay, thank you guys.
Coupon code Wilson.
Get out of murder, Rosa Hernandez.
Oh, yeah,
Coupon code.
Yeah, mention Wilson when calling Rose for a discount.
Yeah.
You know?
Coupon code Wilson. Yeah.
Oh
This
man,
was
that
fun.
tobacco was so good. Yeah,
Oh,
this was so
yeah.
much fun, man. This
Yeah.
was great. Thank you, dude. This was
Boom.
awesome. Is that?
You want to hit some more?
I think maybe I should. But
Yeah, I think you should too. Like I said, all the way from California.